Bill Walton has passed away at the age of 71. I tried to think of words to describe Bill Walton: eclectic,
Hmm.
educated, eccentric,
Yes.
effervescent. He was everything. Uh, he passed away at the age of 71. Long battle with cancer that we did not know about. His legacy is everywhere. What he was here, maybe the greatest high school basketball player of all time in San Diego County, out of La Mesa, out of Helix. What he was there, UCLA, three times with John Wooden, NCAA champion, three times player of the year. What he became in the NBA, Portland Trailblazers, number one draft pick, MVP of the league, MVP of the playoffs, Hall of Famer. And then what he became in his community. He was a phenomenal, unique guy with interest right across the spectrum of life.
Yes.
You ask him a question, 7 minutes later, he's still talking and answering the question. He was an intellect. He was unique. He was polar opposite of all things that John Wooden was. He
Right.
was at one end of the spectrum, the coach was at the other, but he took all of John Wooden's values and applied it to his career, then he applied it to his life, then he applied it to his relationships. The word that I can use to describe him post basketball: all in.
Mm.
He committed himself to everything, you know, whether that was his rehab from the catastrophic back and foot surgeries, whether it was his involvement with charities and foundations, what he did for the homeless, what he did as a sports broadcaster. Dude had more opinions than me, and he would let you know what they were.
He did.
And he told you what he thought. I think that's the value of the person, is what he was as an individual, as an athlete, then obviously as a pro basketball player, and then in retirement in his community. He gave back to this town. His heart was all in with everything he did. Uh, was he a free spirit? Damn right he was.
Hmm.
Did he have opinions personally, politically? Damn right he did.
Yes, he did.
But he was a friend to so many people. And the outpouring over the last 4 hours since the NBA released the details that he passed away at about 10 this morning, the outpouring nationally has just been phenomenal. So I think of him and I think of the era at UCLA. And he obviously was one of the bigs who replaced the great Louis Alcindor, who became Kareem
Hmm.
Abdul-Jabbar. And then he became a superstar in Portland. Sadly, the injuries devastated him: the back, the foot, the ankle issues. Went to Boston as a role player, finished up here, tried to come home. San Diego Clippers, never really got on the court because he had more foot surgeries, and then he retired, and then he went off on his second life, and his second life, in terms of what he gave the community, almost as good as what his first basketball life was. So that's my impression. Unique, really unique and different guy.
I loved Bill Walton. I mean, everything about him. I mean, I never met him, but my first sort of indirect connection is I worked for the Clippers when I was a freshman in college, and I was the guy selling popcorn up and down the aisle. And that's when they had Bill Walton, but he was always hurt and he was never there. So I never really got to see him play much. But I was so happy that he had success in Boston. And like you said, he was a role player. He played an important role for the team, and he was very productive in that little window there with Boston. Then to see him go on to become an NBA announcer or even a college basketball announcer, and some fans didn't like his ranting and going off on tangents, and I loved all of that. It was so entertaining, and he's such a smart guy. And then what he's done, you always call the Pac-12 the Conference of Champions, so he must be devastated on that point right now. But to see him as the Grateful Dead guy, as the homeless advocate, the teepee in the backyard, I mean, it was fantastic. He rode his bicycle everywhere, and he always had something to say, and he always brought a smile. So rest in peace, Bill Walton. I have nothing but positive memories of him.
I'm trying to think how you just described Bill Walton: person, player, professional. Oh, he was dynamic.
Yes.
I That's enough said. I think we kind of covered it all, but what a uniquely different persona.
unique and different and special,
Yeah.
because he brought something to basketball that no one else did. And he had that magic touch with people in the community. And he was always so proud of San Diego, wasn't he? And he'd talk about the Aztecs, he'd talk about the Padres, and he'd do everything he can. He was like the CEO of the Chamber of Commerce of San Diego. And he was fantastic in everything he did. So rest in peace, big man. Big was Red. They call him Big Red or
Yeah.
something. Probably back in the day. I missed, the Portland Trailblazer era. Probably I wasn't, quite old enough, and certainly the UCLA stuff preceded my fandom of him. But yeah, San Diego mourns him even more so than the nation.
What was his favorite phrase? Slam it down, big guy.
Yeah, he had a bunch of them. Yeah.
Bill Walton, amazing, amazing human being. Are we glad we kind of, in some form or fashion, cross paths
Yeah,
with the
we
big
did.
guy?